welcome to the Gluck Family First Sunday October edition. So this is a very special month because it is Disability Awareness Month, and we're going to focus on that today as our theme. It's going to be the framework and how we think about the project that we're going to be doing today, which I'm really excited to show and do with you guys. So today we're doing art and disability, and so today I'm going to be working with two very talented friends, scientist Dr. Temple Grandin and artist Richard Vavro. So these two people saw and interacted with the world differently than most people do. While differences in general can be confusing, I think it's important to remember that if we try to be understanding and respectful, we can always learn new and wonderful things. And that's the case today. So I'm going to be sharing with you the stories and accomplishments of Dr. Grandin and Richard with an easy to follow story, which will be in a separate video, and a guided project. So our book is called The Girl Who Saw in Pictures, and it shows how just with a little encouragement and self-expression, Dr. Grandin became a renowned scientist. And meanwhile, our project is going to show off Richard's amazing crayon drawings. So to follow along with today's project, all you'll need for today is paper, crayons, a pen or pencil, a printed picture, and your memory. All right, let's dive into it. So before I want to go into our guided project, I just want to talk a little bit about disability in general, and as well as disability activism in the art world. So disability is a condition that makes it difficult for a person to do certain activities or interact with the world around them. So these conditions can take different forms. They may affect a person's mind, body, or both. The important thing is to understand and be respectful of those who might see and engage with the world differently. So there actually exists a thriving community of artists who are disabled all over the globe. They make up of people who are autistic, have mental illnesses like anxiety, depression, etc. There are artists who have limited movement or prosthetic limbs. And each artist uses art for a multitude of reasons. So some might use art as a form of personal expression, therapy, or as a way to challenge themselves. There are great artists who paint with their mouths and feet, for instance, instead of their hands. You know, there are talented dancers who use uniquely designed prosthetic limbs to enhance their dancing. Many of these artists like to use art to talk about their experience as people who are disabled and bring attention to the challenges they face. Activism is a really important aspect of disability in the art world because artists not only push boundaries and challenge expectations of what people have about what they can and cannot do as people who are disabled, but they also talk about the lack of attention and respect they receive in the art world. It's important to remember that artists who are disabled are often just as talented as able-bodied artists, thus they should receive equal attention and recognition for their work. All right, with a little food for thought there, you know, a little bit of a dive into the background and the themes of what we're working with today. Let's get started with our little guided project. And I'm really excited. This is going to be a little challenging, but I think you guys are up to it, and it'll be really fun. And we're gonna see how, you know, different our pictures might come out, and that's going to be a really nice thing, you know, because differences, like I said, they can teach us new and wonderful things. So Richard Vavro was a Scottish artist. He was on the autism spectrum, and he was a very, very talented artist. He used crayons as his primary medium, and he did little landscapes, and they're very, very detailed, but also extremely colorful. And this exercise is going to help you see a little bit about how Richard saw the world. So I have my crayons right here, in this little bucket. And then I chose this little book as like an image that I could use today, because it has like little beautiful landscapes that I like and I think are really cool. So I chose this image in here. I don't know if you can see that super well. That's the image I'm going to be doing. You guys can choose any image that you want, you know, and we're going to do a little small exercise where we're going to train our memories, and we're going to look at our pictures really carefully and look at all the details and try to remember them the best we can. So take about 2 to 5 minutes of just looking at the image you might have next to you. It could be from a magazine, you could have printed it out, it could be a photo that you took, and just look at it for like 2 to 5 minutes. Look at all the beautiful details in there. And then when that 2 to 5 minutes is up, you're going to shut your book, you know, or you're going to put your image away, and you're going to draw your image by memory. Very, very challenging, but it'll be very fun. I'm going to look at my image now. So when I'm looking at my image, I'm looking for the big pieces. So I have like this big door on the front. I'm going to be really looking at like the shape of the door, where it's placed, which is in the center. I'm looking at the roses around them. I'm really looking at the abundance of roses. I'm gonna take special attention to, you know, the path that leads up to the gate, you know, and sort of the crisscross. I'm seeing that little pattern. I'm gonna take a look at the ferns and think about their shape and how some of them go upward and some of them go more forward. I'm going to be looking at like the ivy on the side and like the other little plants that sort of like make up this image. And you can try and like put it all into little pieces or fragments, and that'll really help when you're trying to make an image from memory, is you're trying to imagine all the little pieces of the image and you're trying to fit them into one big picture the best way that you can. And so, all right, that is time for me. As you can tell, the timer goes by really fast. I'm gonna take one last look at my image. I'll show you guys. That's what I'm trying to do. Now I have to shut it and I have to use my memory to draw the image with pencil. So got my blank paper, and now I'm going to start drawing from memory. So what do I remember the first? I remember that big gate. That was a very central part of the image. And so I'm sketching the big gate. I'm trying to remember the best I can, you know, the way it looked. As you can see from, you know, this little exercise, like this is a little bit difficult, you know, and this is going to be a little bit challenging, but that's the important thing, is that we're going to try and challenge ourselves a little bit so we can get an idea of what Richard was thinking about when he was making his pictures, you know. We're going to look at this from a different perspective, you know, because we're not just trying to copy from an image, we're trying to remember an image, which like that's hard, but you know, we're gonna have fun with it. And that's the important part, is it doesn't need to be perfect, you just need to have a little bit of fun with it. And it's okay, you can be creative, because a lot of this is going to be filling the gaps and sort of confronting your memory and challenging what you remember, but also being a little bit creative and being like, hey, okay, I don't really remember what goes here, but I'm gonna fill in the gaps the best way I can. So you can see I have my gate, I have like one little bush here on one side, and then I'm starting on the ivy. And so I'm kind of making like these little heart-shaped leaves. Okay, so this is what I'm kind of have so far, as you can see. Just doing some light sketching and just trying to get the basics of the shapes, and a little, you know, trying to be detailed but also quick here. For me, at least, and what I'm able to do today, it's more of a feeling. I have I have a feeling that a lot of your works are going to be kind of like that, where it's more of like a feeling, an impression of what you're seeing, and that's perfectly fine. You know, some people are able to, like Richard, as you'll see, I'll do an example of some of his work. He's able to just do it almost perfectly. And that's okay, you know, that's what he's able to do. It comes to him naturally. For us, what's going to probably come a little bit more naturally is like a feeling when you're doing these, like a impression of what you're seeing. It's not going to be perfect necessarily, but it's going to be something that's uniquely yours, and I think that's the important part. So now that my little path is all finished, the image is all together, as you can see, I got a lot of like those pieces that I talked about, you know, like there's the shrubs on the side, there's some flowers, the path, the gate, the roses, the ivy, the bushes, the flowers, you know, the important parts are in here. And you can also, like, you know, close your eyes and be like, okay, what do I remember about the image that really popped out to me when I was looking at it? And for me, it was like those greens, like those different shades of greens. There was like blue greens, there was like green greens, there was yellow greens. And so I'm gonna really play around with those colors. I'm gonna try to reveal those colors. So I'm gonna put my base down, which is just like a true green. And I'm gonna just begin working on the little shrub, you know? And I'm purposefully, and I'll show you guys in a minute, like when I'm putting the crayon down, I'm trying to kind of get a shape going. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of making like these little W shapes or something, like these little scrawls real quick, because I'm trying to layer the colors in a way. And you'll see in a moment. It's pretty cool what you can do with crayons. You know, you can layer colors on top of each other. That gives you the idea that there's like different colors going on, and when you see that there's different colors going on, it almost gives you an idea that like there's the image is like really coming alive, that there's some depth to the image. That's what we want to see. The layering of these colors, so as you can see, I put the spring green and I put like this little blue green of a color, and then I'm coming back with my true green, which is sort of like a middleman, and it's going to help blend and create this really interesting color. And so as you can see, this is how I colored the bricks, and then I'm gonna fill those little gaps with green, like that green moss. Super fun. Okay, and so then I filled in the green, and look how much that pops. And all these little gaps, I'm just covering with green so that there's not these like white empty spaces. Sorry. You know, and it adds a little bit more like of a finished look to our work. That's our picture. That's the picture I did today. And I did it from my memory. And as you can see, I'm going to show you guys the picture. Is it going to be completely 100% perfect and, you know, we got every single detail? Probably not, you know, but that's totally fine. You know, this is what I'm able to do. You know, yep, exactly. Like, do I have that 100% correct? No. But that's okay. This is what makes it fun. I'll show you the image again. You know, I'm missing some stuff here, and there are certain things that are kind of squashed or they're two-dimensional, because this is what I could remember. You know, this is how my mind works. This is how I see and perceive the world. But what I came out with was something really unique and something that was me. And I'm really proud of my work, and you'll be really proud of your work too. And I'm gonna share my screen really quick. This is what Richard was able to do. Yeah, that's detailed, isn't it? You know, like he gets like you know, the idea that this car is like heading towards the distance really well. You know, all the stuff, the trees are really like well aligned, the sunset, but look how like interesting it is, because he kind of chooses a green color to represent the transition from light to dark, which I think is really interesting. And this is all with crayon. You know, this is a crayon drawing. It's a little dark, but you know, look at the way he drew the car. Like, that's very detailed, and this is all from memory. You know what I mean? Like, that's really cool. Is my picture's different, you know, um, but it's unique and it's me. And just like that, like his pictures, they're unique, they're his. You know, that's how he saw the world. And this is just an exercise to show you, like, wow, like even though that you may have a different perspective or a different way of looking at the world or a different way of interacting with the world, those differences aren't inherently bad, and you can learn something new and something really nice by looking at differences. And you know, I hope you guys really enjoyed this project. I had a lot of fun with it. It was very relaxing, and I look forward to seeing any pictures you guys might submit and things like that. But for now, I'm going to sign off, and I hope to see you guys next month on the first Sunday. All right. Have a good one, everyone.